Welcome to Tuesday night. I'm Ken Meringolo on behalf of First Amendment Sports. This is Thank God It's Tuesday. We're going to come up with a segue between music and show that doesn't involve us having to shout over the intro music. He's Tim Strachan.
Man, I love the enthusiasm because I came into this show not knowing what the hell was going on, except for one fact has been proven that we all know it's disappointing to miss out on a BJ. That I do know.
He's Kevin Ricca.
I mean, lady listeners notwithstanding, and Keegan Tier.
We don't have
the
any
rest
lady
of us know
listeners. We certainly don't have any lady listeners.
what that means.
It's also, it's terrible how these young offensive whippersnappers keep declining us because they've only been alive throughout the curse of the shitbag era.
Yeah.
They have no idea that we ever even scored points since they've been alive, and so they're scared intrinsically. I understand. It's going to be an older gentleman that has some memory of this place being tremendous.
To all the older gentlemen out there, Kevin is thinking about you. AGH, NES, Tecmo, E.O. Anderson, Greg Martin, Manner of Speaking, to name just a few. Rhett Donnelly, I know, is on the board. Again, thank you to Charles Gormley for the bottle of Bushmills he dropped off in studio in his appearance last week. It was awesome.
Sorry I missed you, buddy.
We appreciate all you guys spending a Tuesday night with us. If you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button. It's free. We only have 5,000 more subscribers to go to get to 10,000. Anybody you know that may be even remotely interested in three dudes in a basement.
Whoa.
Just leave it there.
You are fired from the marketing department.
Don't type that in. Please.
Fired
Please
from the
don't.
marketing department.
Don't type
You're
that
not
in.
allowed to
That
come
might
in.
be our best chance.
You go
to
right
get
to hell. If you type that in, you go right to hell.
Do not pass. Go. If you see or hear anything you like, hit the thumbs up button. It's easy, just a click. You can put that thumb anywhere you want. According to Kevin Ricca, that's not T and I have. We don't think that.
It's this kind of night. I'm even drinking. How about that?
The A team, 1, 2, 3, back in the house after a hot second out. Good to see you tonight, sir.
What's happening?
Nasta to our friends across the pond. Let's get right into it. On the official Commanders show of First Amendment Sports, our offseason is in full thrust. We've been doing it for quite a few weeks now, and I know some of we're joined now by all but two teams.
Pump it away.
Just absolutely pumping away. The plot thickens, so to speak, this week. So we've been talking about coaching searches, and we'll talk more in depth about it. But obviously, the news of the day, and it is fresh. Ben Johnson staying with the Lions. They said he didn't renegotiate his contract, but I gotta believe he's getting that Jared Mayo treatment. Whether or not Dan Campbell is the coach there for the next 10 or 15 years, which is certainly possible if they keep on this track, or not. The 37-year-old Ben Johnson says, hey, I like where I'm at. I'm going to keep calling offensive plays for this group, and Dan Campbell's probably a cool coach to work for at the end of the day, so he ain't coming here. Reactions.
Well, I'll say this. The only thing that could have happened, aside from the money, is that he went in there and was ho-hum in the interview, would be my only guess. And maybe he realized that then and there he wanted to come back. This didn't work out the right way. It didn't work out, the interview, because we said last week, as much as we liked him, and we talked about McDaniel a little bit too, how do we know how these guys can lead? Dan Campbell is such a domineering presence. Aaron Glenn jumps out in front of everyone. Everyone knows he's kind of a dude. Yep. There's two football personalities that they fill up the room themselves. So who knows? That's the only thing I could guess. Because what the hell, dude? You got the whole world. Come on, go ahead, brother.
To give him credit and to start on a positive note before we crush him, I think of somewhat of what you're saying might be true. Look, can you all remember what it was like being 37? Right? And I at 37, I was in a pretty high, powerful position in the government, and it's a lot. It's nothing compared to what these guys go through in terms of the millions of dollars at stake, right? So, I mean, that's tantalizing. Hopefully, on a positive note, at some point in this process, he looked at himself and says, I don't think I'm ready. Look, you take this job and you don't do well, that shortens your career in some respects. He's got a lot of time ahead of him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's looking at it. Maybe he got some advice. Maybe he realized, I don't have to take this step right now. I'm in a great spot. If it's here now, it's going to be there in the future. If I keep doing what I'm doing, maybe it was a smart decision on his part.
His Jameer
I mean,
Gibbs,
that's the only positive way I
Sam
can look at it.
Laporta, Jamison Williams, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff.
A shot at a ring.
And shot.
Build your resume, build your experience before
he's
you
gonna
take
get paid.
that step.
And
I mean,
getting
that's
his money.
a lot of pressure. That's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of money. But
I think the deal now. I mean, it's three spots. Yes, head coach is important. We know that. You can see it. I mean, look at the two guys in the Super Bowl. Look at the teams that did well this season. Head coach matters, of course it does. But the two coordinator positions, they're as close to head coach as it gets. They're all getting paid top money, top coach money in the league. Owners are woken up to the reality that it doesn't count against the salary cap if you can get a good one. These guys are getting paid very, very well. So, I think our situation is attractive to a coach that wants to do, a coach and a GM that are basically starting from the absolute bottom. But he doesn't have the absolute bottom. He's got an offense that clicks, a coach that essentially took 110% of the bullets after that loss, and how I feel about Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make offense fun in Detroit for a long time.
And I'm not going to bash Ben Johnson. I don't like how he did it. That's it. That's all, and that's the only thing, and that's the only thing we'll get to. But I'm not going to whatever. A man's decision is a man's decision. If his wife and him are happy in Detroit, who the hell gives a shit? Sometimes it's not about the money. I get that, but I mean, how about that team having a chance to go and get a ring next year? That's a huge opportunity for them, as opposed to starting over, which is neat. But this guy's only 37. He might want to accomplish some shit before he has to go do the start over. And I get that.
Yeah.
And maybe he learned that throughout the process, and maybe he just said, it's not worth it. I'm going to stay right here. But maybe it was that Eminem diss track, because he's the GOAT of diss tracks, and that was going to come down hard on him. He threatened that last week, and I think it was tangible. I think it was understood. And I'm just saying this, the Johnson household, he wasn't a real Johnson about it, but he was kind of annoying how he handled that phone call. It was just like, all right, I'm glad we didn't hire the guy that made the call while they were already on the plane. I sort of felt that way when it happened.
We waited till after, wait until he was available. I mean, I think you could absolutely say, I don't know, there was somebody we wanted more that we could have gotten before the Lions were eliminated from the playoffs. But the Ravens and the Lions being alive until the same week. But I mean, if you're a good offensive coordinator, you could take your shot at head coach. But if it doesn't work out, you can almost surely get another job as offensive coordinator and make a bunch of money. Pardon my
ignorance.
Go ahead.
Do we know why they were on the plane on their way there? Do we know for sure, exactly why they were going there?
Yeah. They interviewed him. And they interviewed him, a second interview, and Aaron Glenn, a second interview. That was understood. That was the whole plan. And the good thing was they still wouldn't interview Aaron Glenn. That was supposed to happen. All that was documented, but he backed out while they were on the flight. Johnson did.
He did. He pulled the Johnson.
Johnson pulled out. He did. It happened, and I knew you guys were going to get there eventually.
Yeah. All right, how about this? So I do have some either ors that the board is talking a little bit. I guess they're getting into, because the other news obviously is Slowick is off the table. He got extended by Houston. That's just smart. I mean, D'Amico Ryans did the impossible, and with a rookie quarterback, and he came from that San Francisco lineage.
1 year, and he did great. But holy shit, we've had 30 years of go after yourself.
They've been bad for a long time.
I know.
But they've gone from quarterback to quarterback to coach, and
there's no reason for him to leave. Those guys are connected at the hip. That's cool.
And that's a true 1A, 1B scenario. You have a defensive head coach who's being the guy, and then you have Bobby Slowick, who's as valuable, and Houston, good on them for making a smart football decision in terms of their sideline. So he was not one of my top. I wouldn't have been pissed if we hired Bobby Slowick as our head coach. Of course not. But he was not. And he wasn't. Registering very high on the boner meter. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to say anything about it being husky.
No,
All right, I did. I said it could have been a little. Maybe
husky.
It was husky. It's we don't like to hurt feelings on this show.
Mama says I'm Husky. Let's go to the first either or of the evening.
But
Since
how
we
much
talked about
more has
Ooh.
BJ accomplished?
Then who?
Two seasons.
Slowick.
Well, I'll tell you real quick what he's done. In the
how are
last
they
2
not
years,
similar?
in the last 2 years, 1,000 points for the Detroit Lions. Never in 2 years back to back in the history of the franchise. Much less, maybe if you took the two best years outside of his two, the last two, have they scored 1,000 points. They've averaged over 27 points since he's gotten there. That's the most they've ever in a 2-year span. He's completely reinvigorated that offense with the help of that talent, that amazing offensive line, a badass coach that's, like you said, took bullets for him. He's in a sweet spot, no doubt about it.
We don't have 1,000 points over like 5 years.
Oh, it's disgusting. I looked at it. I had to stop. I start getting all numbery and losing my marbles. I had to stop.
What's our? You know the answer to this. Is our average points over the last 5 years like 300 or 400 on the high side?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's always like 371.
Yeah.
363. 347. You're
Yeah,
like, what
it's
the shit?
Yeah, I mean, but I didn't even think it. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was that much. I mean, if you average 17 points a game, that's that's 340 points.
And every coach we've hired throughout this whole entire thing has been an offensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
We're getting slugged in the throat. So.
Ooh. I appreciate the dialogue over the last month and a half about do we want an offensive or a defensive, and as we go to
That's been determined.
The first, it's been,
Unfortunately, because I do.
this last week. It was Kevin and I and Brent from Burgundy Blog, and we did
You're
this.
acting like I wasn't paying attention and working.
Well, I'm just saying as I pull
On
it
the
up.
board,
Let's go to let's see where we got. All right, so last week this was Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald. This week it's Dan Quinn or Mike McDonald. Ooh, that's Ben Johnson. We don't want Ben Johnson.
No, that's Dan
there.
Quinn. That's Dan Quinn.
No.
The other one was,
Yeah.
you got to pull that
He
Johnson out.
snuck
again,
in
so
there. I forgot to pull the Johnson out.
There you go.
All right, Mike McDonald. Now, and I spelled his name wrong. And that's
It's MacDonald.
yeah. Listen. We're just gonna fix that live.
Oh, ADD in live real time. Watch it go. He has to correct it. He's not going to be okay.
Let's do it. Well, you
good.
know what?
He's
You know
fine.
what? It's not. It's
gonna
not a
be all
capital
right.
D. It's not a capital D that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. All right, so because I picked him last week and the reason why is because I think, and I think we've been told this. I'm not like intuiting it that we are focused on leadership and top of the food chain, culture setter, whatever at the head coach spot. I thought Mike McDonald was always better in that regard, and that's the buzz, right? If you read the ESPN beat guys, the CBS beat guys, whatever, they're always like, yeah, like within like 20 minutes of it being in a room with Mike McDonald, you're like, okay, you're a freaking head coach. So,
it's one thing to do that, in interviews and in the offices and stuff like that. It's another thing to do it in front of.
Well, he had the baddest ass defense in the league this year.
badasses that you have to.
He did it. He did it this year, and he did it at the highest. He did it with the one of the more physical defenses in the land. But the guy, and again, the choice was made for us, obviously, in terms of Ben Johnson offensive versus Mike McDonald defensive. And now, if you believe the writing on the wall, Kevin, I think you said it earlier. Seattle and Washington are the last two spots. These two guys appear to be the top candidates to fill those two spots. There are other names.
I think that was just my guess. I don't. This doesn't mean.
And Dan Quinn comes from Seattle, correct?
He does. Well, he actually he's an East Coast guy. He graduated from Salisbury. I mean, this is a in-state guy, man. Dan Quinn played at Salisbury. I missed him by 1 year, or else we'd have played each other.
Brody Strachan.
Yeah, exactly. So young, older man in this whole terms, but. Here's the one thing that jumped out about me. Two different things did. He took Atlanta as far as that franchise has ever gone. He was up 28-3 against the GOAT. We all know the rest.
Yep.
But he got to a point where he was up 28-3 in the greatest game of all time in a franchise that had never won one. I know the rest of the story. I get it. But I'm just saying, he did that. And also,
Kyle.
when he got hired, they said, assemble a staff. And this is what this son of a bitch did. Kyle Shanahan is the offensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur is the quarterback's coach. His brother Mike is an offensive assistant. Mike McDaniel is an offensive assistant. Raheem Morris is the assistant head coach. And I had to throw Terry Robisky in there
And
just for shits and giggles.
Robinski, according to Dion.
But dude, so that right there gives me a lot more confidence than I previously had. And I think the leadership thing, he's been the leader.
Yeah.
That he's been
So
will follow him. But
You putting your vote on? If you had to go
I
either
love
or,
what McDaniel's done, and I feel the youth movement. I feel like the erasure of the non-retread is more of the. I think that's what I'm guessing our ownership is thinking, based on just I don't know.
I'm going to start it out because
I can feel it in my plums. Is that
We're going to go one shower.
is
Ken.
that good analytics?
So you're going to McDonald?
I'm going McDonald.
All right.
But I am not. It might be unpopular, but I'm not going to be disappointed when we hire Dan Quinn's crazy ass.
No offense to
And I don't think that's popular, but I really like him.
Mac Little D, but I'm going to go with Quinn. There's going to be a contrarian there. I think maybe this job could, in particular, need a little seasoning at that spot.
So that's not that much. That's too much seasoning.
Just a little shower Ken whispering in his ear. Hey.
Weren't we supposed to move on from the shower can? I think that's
We were.
That's almost child abuse on McDonald. I mean, what is
Something's
he, 36?
happening. There's something going on there. Let's see. I don't see the board. The board. I don't know what the board is rung in fully
They're not
between these
listening.
two.
They're having their own conversation.
They're locked in on the shower mat. So obviously I'm Mike McDonald. I'm excited about. I love the shot on the new guy. I do favor. There's only one retread I have any interest in whatsoever, and I'm shocked we're not hearing his name more. It's Mike Vrabel. If he's had any interest in being our head coach, this conversation for me would be done. I'd be like, yeah, we want Mike Vrabel as our head coach.
I wouldn't argue with you.
He fits the bill of if that's what you're looking
Leader,
for. Yeah.
blah, blah, and he's got enough youth. He's not some old fart. But
he'll be here for 10 years.
I mean, just one thing I didn't say about this before we get off Mike McDonald. And you said 20 minutes of being in a room with Mike McDonald and your khakis fall off or some shit like that. But I didn't know if you were going to get banged up or upset or just happy. But he shared an office with Eugene Shen. You know that, right? They've spent 20 minutes at a time together.
Talking about Mikey Mack.
And they've become close, from what I understand. They're boys, and they share this belief in analytics. And to a certain degree, they've been able to bridge it between the football people and the pocket calculator folks. And they do a pretty damn good job of making it feel real and not just, contrived in a computer world. I kind of like that matchup. You've been talking about Eugene being a huge influence on what's going to happen.
He is.
Why not start right here with a guy that he, in his analytics, came up with this guy as one of the highest rated coaches at his position all throughout the tenure of his time in Baltimore?
I think that the difference between this regime and the previous regime is if you go back to when we first started. I mean, the people who were, for lack of a better word, shadowy overlords that are lurking in the shadows, puppet mastering the situation with Dan Snyder, who's got to put some money in the jar. They were lawyers. They were pit bull, attack dog, dirtbag lawyers. And I don't want to say their name now because I could maybe they'll probably even though I'm sure they don't watch. But that's what it was. It was the word. It was bad people pulling the strings and being in charge of the Dan Snyder's ear, and really the worst possible influence. They were in charge of suing season ticket holders. They were in charge of football. They made advice on football decisions from that PR lawyerly standpoint. I think the cool difference here is the quote unquote guy in the shadows is Eugene Shen. I think his influence is humongous. I don't think it can be overstated. I love Adam Peters.
Been overstated on this show.
No. And midway through that, I was like, I think you've done this every week.
You brought him up.
I know, but I'm not certain if you
This
remember.
segment brought to you by Eugene Chen.
We haven't even had a Eugene Shen either or in a picture because I don't know if I
He's
can
going to
handle it.
hit the floor.
All right, so Mike McDonald gets two shower cans and Dan Quinn gets one.
Let's not talk about Eugene no more.
All right, let's pull these guys down.
Well,
All right.
while we're pulling these guys down, also understand Adam Peters, what a tremendous hire. And that's what we wanted to get in first. We wanted a football guy right off the jump.
Yep.
So that combo, it's
He's
pretty
being
exciting.
tested.
He is.
He's being tested.
And good.
No more Ben Johnson.
Let's get the right guy. I don't care. Let's just get the right guy. I don't know that any of us actually know. It's fun for all of us to have an opinion. And I'm not going to argue with anyone who does. I'm not going to say you're right or I'm right because I have no effing clue. I just want the right guy, and I feel like we have a bunch of good people involved here and good football guys and leaders and the youth. Just get it done the right way. But I do believe if it's one of those two guys.
Craig says I'm overstating it.
If it's one of those two guys, I think EB remains.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to
town.
get there. We're going to get there.
Sorry.
Don't, dude. Unbelievable.
I said it already today. I tied them into a big bow.
I have a whole thing for you. Okay, how about this? Before we do that, though, how about this one? The Ben Johnson decision impact on Sam. You get to reuse two graphics I used last week. This is just more laziness on my part. I didn't have to change out Sam Howell. So, anyways, Ben Johnson, and it's not about as much about Ben Johnson as it is not going with an offensive coordinator head coach. I think we could probably agree. I think most people would think it would be at least reasonable to think that if you bring in a hotshot offensive coordinator to be your head coach, you have $75 million in cash and the number 2 overall pick, you're almost certainly going quarterback in the top of the draft. If you go with the fiery leader, defensive coordinator, head coach, which it seems like we are, and Ben Johnson's no longer coming here, impact on Sam Howell, whoever wants to go first.
This is under the assumption that Bieniemy
No.
100%.
Nope, this is just on the assumption that we are not hiring an offensive-minded head coach.
Let me start by saying this. Ben Johnson was a former quarterback walk-on, but at the University of North Carolina.
Yep.
Also, 2 years ago, I believe, whenever Howell came out, 2 years ago, he coached Howell in the Senior Bowl. So they spent the week together. They have a familiarity. He was the quarterback coach at the Senior Bowl. So this is a Carolina guy coaching a Carolina guy. You know damn well they got along great, and that would have been fine for Howell.
Yep.
But I don't think him not being here is bad news. I just think that would have been fine.
I don't think it changes anything.
No, me neither.
Because it all depends on the draft. Sam's future depends on what happens
100%.
draft night.
But if you took Ben Johnson, for example, I think even if it's marginally, even if it's like 90% instead of 80% more, likely to go quarterback at the top of the draft, just because I think that's fair. If you're a hotshot guy, you want to have a blue chip top prospect quarterback at the top of the draft to do your thing with. Not that Sam couldn't do it, but that just seems to be the way it works.
I've seen franchises built on a left tackle as the first pick.
Oh, we need two tackles.
So just because we got an offensive-minded coach didn't, in my mind, say that it was 100% going to be a quarterback decision at number 2.
Okay, so you're going with, and let me just pull you up here.
I don't think it's changed.
There you are. So you're saying that we're going to call that a positive impact on Sam Howell. Anything that's the same is good.
That's not positive for Sam at all to have you that close to him.
Kev, what do you think?
I think, thank God, Sam Howell's not allergic to shrimp. First and
Wait
foremost.
a second. I would
You
say
asked me what I thought.
least-
That's a loaded. Don't ever ask me
Maybe
that
like
question.
jumbo calamari at least.
Jesus.
Maybe, I mean, come on.
I get my seafood confused.
Some healthy escargot, maybe just something. Maybe like baby sea turtle. I don't know. What do you got? Neutral or better goes to the Sam Howell happy side.
Neutral or better. Let's make it a shrimp cocktail over there on the left side.
Shrimp cocktail coming up right there. We'll just put him over here. And I'm also obviously thinking that this is a positive development for Sam, not just to have right now. I think that's a sweep. I do think we're less likely, even if it's marginally less likely, percentage points less likely. I think we're less likely today to draft a quarterback at number 2 because we're not getting an offensive-minded head coach. That could just be hogwash and poppycock, to use 2 of T's words.
Yeah, well, I mean, C.J. Stroud has kind of proven that that's part of the deal.
don't
The number two pick by a defensive-minded head coach did pretty good.
Yeah,
in the AFC
absolutely.
this
With
year.
Bobby Slowick. Yo, back. Hey, want to say a shout out to Robert Cohen, who made it a little bit late. No worries, my brother. We got.
We'll let it slide, Robert.
I mean,
this
was,
time.
Yeah, it was all good. All right, so let's remove the votes. Let's take down the question, and now we'll do. Let's see. We will do. Okay, that's this one here. The OC under a defensive head coach. Now, got 2 choices. Got the guy who currently is employed by us under contract in town, the year under his belt, returning a bunch of offensive guys, and then we have somebody else. I don't even know. I know there's plenty of names out there, and I think.
Wow, how far has it come? How quickly has it changed for this guy? I mean,
I think it's changed for the better in the last 24 hours.
I do too.
I just meant his career, and not necessarily for us.
He wasn't coveted. It didn't seem.
I have a hard time thinking that whoever takes a head coaching job is going to be happy with being told who his offense coordinator is.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily means that he's going to be told, but I think if they're looking for experience on the staff and they hire a 36-year-old, guy's got the guy. And if you're going to get a young QB, who's going to do it better than the guy that sat there while Pat Mahomes, who's been to 4 of 6 Super Bowls, has been the starter. 5 of those years was with this guy right here, and he talked about how he missed them this year. I don't know if he set the world on fire this year, and I'm not, but I'd like to see him operate with, I don't know, an offensive line, possibly, and a run game with the defense. So obviously, we're not going to have that right off the jump, but we'll see.
Let's say you're Mike McDonald, right? And you've been thinking about this and have been putting your plan together because you know you might have the opportunity to take the helm. And there is a particular person that you've had in mind when this opportunity comes. Although when the opportunity comes, you're told, no, this guy's going to be your OC, not the person you want.
Yeah, well, Greg Roman has popped up 100 million times. He's been offensive coordinator.
I'm not super excited about Greg Roman, but
I kind of like him. He's from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Yeah,
and he just, I don't know, seems like kind of a cool guy. He coached at Atlantic City High School in between one of his NFL stints. Just went back to AC and coached offense for the local high school. He
strikes me as a guy who buys a smaller pair of bike shorts every year.
I know, and I like that about him.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm just telling you. He was an assistant coach at Stanford, assistant head coach. He learned the run game. He's a smash mouth dude. I get that. Is. But I think in his 1 year off, he has gotten into the lab and thought a little bit about how he would like to change his game. But he spent his formidable year. He spent McDonald's formidable years on staff in Baltimore. That's a name that could pop up. I've heard T. Martin pop up, the quarterback coach.
Yeah, T. Martin, Anthony Weaver, both guys who could come over with Mike McDonald if he gets hired.
But I mean, on the offensive side, T would make a little bit of sense.
Sure.
How about George Godsey, the tight end coach at Baltimore that's resurfaced? This is a guy that's, over time has been a dude. At Houston, he was their guy, co-offensive coordinator in Miami 2 years ago before McDaniel showed up. And it's his second year in Baltimore. He's looking to make a jump. He looks crazy right now. He's crazy looking. He's older and bald. George Godsey in the ACC in what year was that? 2000-ish, something like that.
Are you going mystery guy then over EB?
No. See, here's my thing, man.
How often is it done too? By the way,
what?
Where a head coach is told.
Well, you tell them.
I don't think anyone's being told here. I think that they sit down and talk, and you see if they hit it off, and if they don't, no chance.
Also, he's under contract.
This is McDonald, but this is going to be. Everyone's going to be involved in all these choices. I don't think anyone's going to be telling anybody what to do here. And it certainly won't be an owner. He's already said, let the football people do the football things. Peters is going to be the dude that makes that I think has the final stamp of approval. And it'll be done as a committee. Like I feel like they've done everything else. They surround themselves in a room with a bunch of smart people, not one piece of it with a bunch of yes men, and then they hammer out details, and they seem to figure it out a tad bit better than the process that we previously had used. So that's all I'm saying. I don't think anyone's going to be told what to do. I think EB's sitting right here. How about this? Is there a more proven, better hire for offensive coordinator right now out there that wouldn't be just a lateral spot like a Slowick?
For Eric Bieniemy, it might be a great opportunity to once again. Now you are the offensive guy. It's your show. There is no other bucket stops other than with you on that side of it.
All right, so that's 3 for EB. It's interesting too. We were talking about the beginning of the season when Kansas City was struggling, and we're like, "Well, no EB, it's a tough situation out there in KC."
That they got some players.
Now it's all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl, and it's like, all right, mate. Well, EB was still valuable.
Of course. But you know what? Kansas City got right on the offensive and defensive line. And those guys battled.
They lost a guy too.
I know.
Omeni Hugh
and Chris Jones sprained. I think it was a leg. But I'm not certain.
He's showing up. EB, I think the short and simple is EB. I think is currently the best offensive coordinator available on the market. And if we're not hiring an offensive head coach, I don't know that there's any reason you change it up, especially if there's any chance whatsoever that Sam Howell plays snaps again for you. And that's not the decision factor for EB by any stretch, but it's certainly a feather. All right, so I like that. He's under contract. I don't think they're going to force him down.
I was about to ask that. What's it with coaches? Can a coach?
No. He's
somehow break his contract to go somewhere
you either
else?
fire him.
Yeah, and we could. And if we did, we would be a trade, and
they'd be compensated.
Yep.
So with him under contract, if I'll tell you one thing, if Mike McDaniels doesn't want EB as the offensive coordinator, it's an easy decision by the team, and they still have to pay him for that last year of the contract, and he goes. But it's kind of an FU to EB because there's not. We're once again we're through almost at the Super Bowl. A lot of jobs are basically taken, and he might be out of luck. But you could say he wasn't coveted, and I'll say that he didn't seem very coveted with all the openings we had at head
I don't
coach
know if he
this
had
year.
an interview outside of town.
I'm not aware that he had any. But like Bill Belichick's still on the sidelines, Mike Vrabel's still on the sidelines. Neither of them are seem to be top of mind for Seattle and Washington. So it's interesting that that to me, that's a fascinating, reality that Vrabel and Belichick are.
Rivera's still out there.
Rivera's still out there. Yes.
It does. Top heavy. Looks like Towel Ken is his conscience. But you got to put him back. It was like two bad Kens whispering naughty things to Coach Bieniemy.
Yes.
How turd
And one good Ken just like, don't do it.
How turd swoggler would it be to rehire Rivera at this point?
Oh, Jesus.
As what?
Never
though?
mind. As head coach.
Oh, yeah. That would be like
So
a reverse Zorn.
Yes.
In-show commercial.
In-show commercial. Yeah. So, by the way, to anyone who's hanging out with us, and I know there's people, it goes, we don't have, I put it to the most conservative level of ads. So you have to pick let me just put us on camera here for a second.
I was going to say.
So you have to pick, when you go live, you have to pick what amount of ads Google is going to put on. And there's like conservative, the least amount of viewer interruption, which is what we have. Then there's like the middle level, which is they like randomly put it in. Everybody who's watching gets it at a different time. And then there's like super aggressive where it's, it's like, I don't even know what that means. But
somebody just got like an ad or something during our show.
Yeah. And that now used to be the case. It used to be just like one of those.
That's never happened while I watched.
Let's just say they're getting you another way.
Ken never has 3 cups of whiskey on Tuesday.
Yes. All right. So I don't have any. What's that from? Oh,
That's
nice.
40 years ago today, the reigning MVP. There it is. Yes,
Mark
can't see
Mosley.
it.
So anyways, I
Just
have
got
no
set.
control
Sorry to
over
interrupt.
the ad thing. We have it set on the least
I was
amount
trying
of
to
possible
distract.
ads.
I was trying
And
to distract them from the ads.
that's all I can say is we've done, we've set it so that it interrupts you guys the least possible on the interweb. And that's the only setting they allow us. So we're giving up literally fractions of a penny on that extra ad, but we do that for you guys. All right. So
we love you.
Yeah, because we love you.
It has definitely something to do with the towel cans. There's no doubt about
The
it.
towel cans. Well, those are shower mats. Let's keep in mind. Those are shower mats. All right, so let's go back here. Now, again, this is a little break from the football talk. It's an age-old debate. I was thinking about this. It happened to be a random discussion after many, many drinks in the last 6 or 7 days. Now, this is a segment we're going to keep. This one's called Over-Under. We're always going to have an Over-Under from here on out. And I don't know what the Over-Under is going to be. We can determine that every single week. But tonight, the over-under, and this is where my mind goes. I thought maybe we just settle.
This could be interesting because your mind. See,
How about over or under?
See?
Now this is the classic over-under. Now I love betting over-unders. When I thought what should be our first over-under, like what better way to kick off an over-under segment than settling the all-time over-under debate. Now I'm not even going to say any words. I'm going to let you guys say the words. I'm just going to put my shower mat Ken where it belongs, the only place where it should be, and that's right here.
That's where mine goes.
All right, Kev, you're going to go over there as well.
I don't know if I've ever really given this thought.
That's crap. Dude, really? Over or under?
But
I think
it's
there's a
clean
certain
sweep.
way.
I mean, it makes
You don't
sense.
have to give the toilet paper the reach around.
makes sense
That's
to
kind of
me.
a doubler.
Yeah, let's do this one. Let's put this guy right over here. So, is there anyone on the board? We got over. Oh, Greg Martin. Of course, Greg Martin's an under guy. Of course you are. Oh man, you are you're the oldest man alive.
Look, it's dark and scary down there.
You're the
Look right at the point of impact.
That's unbelievable. Paul Western's an under. AGH is an under. Is that just because you're across the pond and everything's reversed?
Everything. No,
Are you in Australia?
That's by hemisphere, not by.
Oh, okay.
It's,
What?
yeah. If he was Australia, that would make sense.
It would make a total. It freaks you out at first, but if you start to get used to it after a while.
I just think it's a personality thing.
Use the I don't even know this.
If you
Use
agree with
gravity
the
to
right,
pull paper off, not your
Then
hands.
you're good. If you agree with your left, then you're weird.
You gotta go. You gotta go with the. You know what? There's only one right answer, Greg. I'm sorry. For one of the first times all week, you're wrong. Ken Harris, however, is right. Paul Western, I'm interested in understanding more about your philosophy.
I mean, I'm going to say it just looks so much better, and I like my shit paper to look glorious right before it goes down the drain.
Yeah, it's got a job to do, and it needs to be ready.
I mean, treat it with respect in its final moments.
It's like hiding, and when it's under, it's kind of like saying, like, maybe he won't pick me. Maybe I'm not.
It's a little sloppy.
Maybe I'm not going in.
It's a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. I think we did the right thing. So next week we'll have a different over/under, maybe a more traditional over/under. But this, to me, that's the over/under of the most importance, really, in our daily lives. All right. How about this? Let's go back. Let's get back to a little football talk. I got two more for us. Let's start with this one. Okay. So next week, I think we should do like actual Super Bowl stuff. This week isn't about that. This week we'll just do topically. We got two teams playing in the Super Bowl. We have plenty of time to discuss all the myriad facets of the game. But who do you like?
The myth though has been debunked.
There's a myth?
There was a myth.
Oh, the color myth.
The color myth.
The purple
has been debunked.
I like it. Well,
I was so on board with the color myth.
Of course you were.
Until the outcomes of the game. Now the color scheme's all screwed up, but whatever. We'll move on.
Is anyone else done with Kansas City?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Why would you be?
I don't know. It's just they're frustratingly awesome.
Are you
at times.
are you Tay-Tay'd out, dude?
No, I'm a
You're
Swiftie.
Tay-Tay'd
I
out,
love
right?
Taylor Swift. I got
Well,
zero
why
problem.
would you ask that question? I think the entire country is.
I'm not worried. You asked the question.
Maybe the world.
There's some
is
haters.
excited
There's
for
some haters.
Kansas
There's some
City.
Taylor haters.
There's some haters,
but they are they're less than the people who go under on their toilet paper.
yeah.
That's okay.
I've seen Kyle on the sidelines in 2 Super Bowls looking distraught. I've seen Patrick on the sidelines in 2 looking very happy.
Yes.
Once it was against each other.
This is his 4th Super Bowl?
Who?
Mahomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do believe that, Kansas City is. When you got Pat Mahomes back there, man.
Yeah.
Dude.
And honestly, it is Pat Mahomes' beginning and end of story. But what Travis Kelce can do
it may be the beginning of the Purdy story.
Well, but that's true and that's fair. But what I was saying is the Travis Kelce thing, first ballot Hall of Famer, all time great receiving tight end. His 11 catches and 100+ yards were so amazing this past week. I think everybody, you assume a team's going to do what they can to take him away. If you look at some of his better catches, he was blanketed. He was covered very well.
I say it every year.
He's a stud.
There's never been a Super Bowl MVP at the tight end position ever.
And he's the guy who could get it done.
This is the year, man.
Yes,
and then
I couldn't agree more.
Over under on whether he proposes on the field after the win.
I'll take the under on that. I'm
Oh my God.
entertained. I'm entertained. And listen, we can't. There's no getting away from. We now know Taylor's whole schedule. She knows she's in Japan. We know she can fly back.
This discussion is real at my house.
Dude, of course it is. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with it. You don't shy away from it. It's not football. I want and need, as we all
It is
do,
now.
one more week of football. We need the football part of it desperately. And I think this is going to be a great matchup and a great game.
There's definitely going to be a prop bet on how many times they show her.
And I'll bet on it. I'm going to bet on the prop. I'm going to bet on the prop bet. Any Taylor Swift prop bet I can get, I will put a couple dollars on. It's just fun, and whatever. But again, she does not impact the outcome of the game that I'm aware of. And I think that these two teams,
Karma is your boyfriend, Ken.
No,
just hang on. We just hand him the MVP.
This whole show started off on missing out on BJ's, and
that's true. I think that
she's in like Japan right now.
All right, so you're going. So she's in Japan, but they've already worked out all the travel. Turns out someone in her position can fly wherever the frick she wants, whenever the hell she wants, on a plane of her choosing. So as long as she's within, Mach 5 speed of wherever she can get there a day before the Super Bowl, is what they're saying. T, you're saying You're going KC right now.
Wait, who said that?
Is this who we think's going to win or who
did
we're
you
rooting
just
for?
tell
No,
me
who
what
are you rooting for? Not who you think's going to
Who
win.
are you rooting
I didn't
for?
I
say
thought
I
that's
was
what you
rooting
said.
for them.
All right, that's your. I'll move it around. Where do you want me to put it?
I've actually been.
I want to be right in the middle.
I've actually been on
never
the
had
San
that
Fran train from the beginning of the year. I thought that they were going to make it.
Okay.
From the start, didn't know who was going to make it. I didn't know if KC was going to repeat. So
I don't know shit, but I know that
I felt it's
these
been
two
San
teams were in.
Francisco's like it's their due.
They've
been
been
there,
obviously in
they've
the
tasted it.
conversation with Baltimore the entirety of the year.
I don't see them being like the Buffalo Bill franchise that
No.
was always the bridesmaid,
listen,
never the bride.
And I hear some guys on the board chatting. Trent Williams is one of my favorite football players of all time. I'm not going to go into the game rooting for one team or another because I love watching Mahomes play. I love watching Kelsey. Trent is just a bad. I mean, who doesn't love watching Debo Samuel play football, for God's sake?
All right, I'm putting my guy over here. I'm rooting for right now. I'm rooting for San Francisco.
I'm doing this. When the game's over and so winds, I'll be happy for either Trent or.
But your shower can has to go somewhere.
It can't go right in the middle?
No, we don't do middle in the basement.
All right. Well,
you got to go.
I'm going to go with Kansas
It just looks
City.
sad in the middle.
Oh, 2 shower cans.
God, that's so fucking gross.
That's just.
It's just when you just butted bellies there.
That was a little belly bump. The shower mats are touching.
Oh, I felt.
You know what? We need to write a letter to Motel 6. They've got to stock their towels better. By the way, those towels are paper thin.
Can you imagine if you had a twin brother?
No one was that. That's every woman's nightmare. There's 2 of you? Yes, there is. Let's see.
Branding, the Kansas City Chiefs branding right now, their marketing team is livid.
Megan's friends were so jealous. They were like, do you know of another guy as hairy and offensive as your boyfriend Ken? Well, yes, I do. And he's wearing a shower mat from Motel 6. All right, so that's just who we're rooting for. 2 weeks out, it can change. I don't think. And how about this? It's a great Super Bowl matchup. It's awesome players. It's 2 great programs. These are two teams capable of giving us a good game. I'm down. I mean, I this shouldn't be a blowout. Are we down with that?
Yes. But let me just before I lose the train of thought. It's going to be a great game, but everyone should just chip in before we get off here on what we think. If Ken did have a twin brother, what his name would be. Greg Martin says Len. I'm going with Sven. So have at it, anyone that feels free.
Sven or
if
Len?
Ken did have that twin brother, and he was also wearing that horrible outfit.
Gary?
That's not an outfit, by the way.
It's an outfit, Ken.
Ken and Gary?
Outfit. Sorry.
If you had a Motel 6, that's an outfit.
That was a candid. Kevin Ricca surprised me. I had no idea that picture was taken until he showed up with him and a bunch of people wearing a T-shirt of it in DC, and then I realized that I was after a long night. CJ was there, a long night at Delilah's, which is as you guys all know is an all-night diner, and so
Now you're being compared to Jay Gruden.
Really?
Yeah, I mean
that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me on this show before, for the most part. How about this?
I think it's a lateral move, Ken.
I'll take it. That's a positive. That's better than my average move.
We got some good ones.
Chad,
Bren,
Chad,
Shen, Greg,
Cock with a K.
K-O-K.
Ken and Cock.
It's great. It writes itself. That joke writes itself.
Cock Meringolo is a nice guy, but he grinds you after a while, you know?
I prefer
He's good in small doses.
It's very small doses. Shockingly small doses. Satisfyingly small doses. Okay. One last either or, and then we'll get back to talk of the Twins here. And then here we go. All right. Last one I could think of for tonight. And this is, again, it's getting me down a little bit. No more football. We're coming up on that disaster scenario. And I have 4 different boxes here, and you can put your shower can wherever you want. You're going to get no more football here in 2 weeks. We're done until.
What about the DC
Hold on.
Defenders or whatever?
Take it easy. We're going to have that option.
There's also some flag football, I believe, on a beach somewhere.
Well, that's next week. I'm saying after the Super Bowl.
I know.
No more flag football even. So you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. I thought
there's spring football.
I'd give you guys some options. What you're going to do with all your time that you're not spending on football.
I like it.
A little exercise. You guys getting back in?
No.
Putting it together a little bit. How about
I'm going for yes.
you're going to exercise? How about get out maybe?
Just walking around.
A little nature loving. Maybe catching.
No, I hate bugs.
Just seeing what's going on out there. You got obviously the UFL starts in March.
Now you're talking.
I think
that's football.
This could be my first real serious year of UFL or secondary football league because of how it hit me hard. I mean, Knights of Columbus on Thursday night football and hanging out when we were there that last time and there was no Thursday night football. That's when it first hit me that week of the playoffs.
Things got weird.
Yeah, things got really weird, and it's like, holy crap! No more Thursday night football, no more Monday night football, and then if you can't handle anything, then it's just, it's just a dark spot. Maybe someone just like, what? I'm just gonna live in a dark place for.
There's so many other things to do other than the other three. I mean, why would you just go straight to naked and depressed?
Why would someone steal the towel from shower cans? It's the dumbest idea of all time.
Is he wearing a towel? I'm not even sure.
Give the towel back, you stupid ass.
So wait, I'm gonna.
What about baseball, sir?
I understand, but we don't get baseball right away.
March Madness is a cool time.
It's the only thing that saves us.
The Masters
in between.
The commercials start right about now.
Tradition like no other.
Yeah, that's too far though.
Then football's back. I don't know what you're so.
What do you mean it's back? We don't get any football until August.
And then the next thing you know, then it's back.
I understand there's draft and
if you come here every Tuesday night, you get a little taste of football anyway. So,
dude, I watch.
What is wrong with you? You're like
because I'm a junkie. I'm an NFL junkie. There's no. I love.
That can be sad. There's sad Ken in the top left corner.
But sad Ken's not. It's not. No, he's got roses. He's got rose glasses on most of the time. So.
There's nothing I love more than NFL.
This really is.
I am. I'm asking for help. This is the cry for help
here.
I do it. I watch. I like mainline NFL
there's
football.
Hockey. There's.
I love the Nats. I love the Caps. I love the Wiz. But none of it.
Go
replaces
take a Castles
NFL
match or something.
See, I might go with the exercise regimen.
I'm going to go with Sad Ken for that one.
WCAC tourney.
They're fun.
Look at this. We'll throw this back up. We'll throw this
I
up.
believe they are. I'm just not a big tennis guy.
Ken Harris.
If you don't like bugs and heat, the Castles is not going to be your jammy.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Ken Harris.
There you go,
WCAC tourney. You know what? I'm gonna put my vote is gonna go right over here. Ken Harris, you're getting shower canned. There you go. All right, shower
Can
Ken.
we all go there?
Because
we'll all three be there.
Sure, you can if that's what you want.
Shower
do you want to go over here with
is
me?
Sven, Shan, or Lan gonna be there?
Bren, Colt.
Jack.
Kevin, what do you want? Do you want UFL? You said you're going to exercise more?
Yeah.
As a result of
just walk around in circles more instead
Look,
of
he
just sitting there.
Fits in there. Like
I like when it's nice
him.
out. We live in a nice area.
All right.
It's so gray and dark right now that it's brutal.
Looks like that guy ripped off your arm and ate it.
Yeah, there's not a lot I can do about that.
Jesus.
There's a lot. Thankfully, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on in that picture. You don't even think about the arm. That's it. That's all she wrote tonight for the either ors. Anyone from the board who wants to put out some either or options for us for next week? We're going to do Super Bowl, main one Super Bowl. So any non-football ones for next week, and then as we go throughout the rest of the off season, please send us your topics, anything. Obviously, we went to toilet paper tonight, so you can see the pool of possibility is pretty big.
It's only up from there.
Anything you want to debate on Tuesday night, anything worthy of a Tuesday night basement podcast, that's a pretty big,
wide breadth,
a lot of real estate in that vicinity. So, when will the decision be made? I had picked tomorrow as the time we announce a coach. Are we announcing a coach tomorrow?
I hope so. I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either.
We've had plenty of time to discuss. We know. Listen, we had a game plan for no BJs. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like this ownership group was like, oh my God, now what? Like everyone, with the
Still disappointing.
fan base panic. But like, I don't know if he But like I said, if the guy that wants to make the last second call, the 37-year-old is like, oh, sorry, I don't want to interview. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. There's going to be someone else that's equally as young, that's equally as that's still on the board. Definitely on the other side of the ball, but whatever.
Also, we're going after guys who everyone wants. So good on Detroit, good on Houston for keeping their guys in house. These are hot commodities. These are coaches that people feel are at the best, some of the best in the league. And we wanted to hire him as a head coach. Detroit wanted to keep him. Good on Detroit. So that tells you. I mean, you don't just want to get a guy that is they'll pack your bags for you and buy you a ticket out of town and go coach for Washington. We've had that guy. We've had that guy multiple times as our head coach. That wasn't on the top of anyone's board or even on anyone's board.
But how about the guy that wasn't even on our top of the board, and then we made him the top?
Of course, yeah. We did the Jim Zorn thing. I mean, back to the earlier conversation, we stuck Marvin Lewis as the head babysitter of Steve Spurrier, for his time here, initially, and which had to have been a total turd sandwich for Marvin Lewis, who was at the time probably the hottest commodity in defensive coaching. And they hire Steve Spurrier to be the head coach. And they're like, yeah, but we want you to be the defensive coordinator also. Could you just make sure he doesn't like totally ruin everything?
Hey, Marv, gonna be taking a long lunch. Another long lunch today.
Going golfing at 18 holes worth.
Knock off early.
Go hit
Get
some
yourself
ball.
some rest. Some rest.
Marvin Lewis, God bless him.
Guy worked 25 hours a day.
Yeah.
While Spurrier was boogie boarding.
Oh, God, exactly. So we didn't get Ben Johnson. We wanted a guy everyone else wanted. Good on us. Good on them. Hopefully we get a guy tomorrow. I think tomorrow's the day. I think we got a new head coach after tomorrow. At which point we also will be able to talk about the insanely large class of restricted and unrestricted free agents coming off of our roster. I got in either or of free agents for us to talk about a variety of positions and a variety of money levels. At least some of our free agent dollars will be spent on one or two of our own guys. That much you can count on. I think it's interesting because I think there's going to be some surprises. I think there's guys that you're going to look at and you're going to say maybe they didn't work out here. You're not excited about keeping them, and we do keep them for for positive results. I mean, I think there's names on this list that are absolutely going to be here next year, and you probably didn't otherwise think that they would.
Are we going to have a zone scheme? Are we going to play man or zone on D?
Yeah.
Are we going to run the ball up front? Like, these are the things that have to be answered. But you know what? That will lend to some of these guys being surprising or not, depending on what scheme they fit.
And we have very few guys who are going to be at, in fact, you might even say we have zero guys who are going to be at the top of their position in the free agent market in terms of dollars. So I don't, there's nobody that.
Right?
What's that?
Wouldn't Cam?
Maybe. I mean, but the safety is not a ball breaker, budget busting, position for the most part. And running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman, linebacker, defensive end. We have. First of all, we have positions where we have nobody penciled in. First of all, and then second of all, we have guys who. Especially on defense. I say especially on defense, where if you hire a guy like Mike McDonald, you're going to get him and Kevin's boy Eugene Shen saying, hey, listen, the way you do things, this guy is going to look a whole lot better on the field next year than he did under Jack Del Rio's defense.
You're going to play a shit ton of zone? Well, that's what Emmanuel Forbes played in college.
Yes.
So I know he's a sticky-ish athlete, but he got toasted up pretty quickly and got no help.
No
from
help.
the staff or his teammates.
Yes. It was
that might
shocking.
Yeah, he did. He
that
was
might
told
be
to
beneficial.
go take a break.
Yeah.
We were on a break.
Yeah.
They were on a break.
Get out of the way of this shitstorm tidal wave. Duck.
AGH all the way from Wales saying he does not think Curl gets massive money. We'll see. I don't think so either. I mean, but I think massive money is relative in
He's
terms
at top of his position.
Yeah. I mean,
he's in the conversation for sure, but his health last year and our ability to give up 30 points a game isn't going to. He might have to sign a little proving deal. He might be one of those guys that has to do whatever. But I would love to have him back.
Love to have him back.
I mean, I think we're all in agreement on Cam Curl.
Would you get rid of Chase Young and Montez Sweat because of a underlying core truth that there's no essential ingredient of a 3-win team. You know, like if you win 3 games and you have one of the most historically bad defenses ever, you're not searching for you're not saying, well, we couldn't have done that without this guy.
We have no essential employees.
Yes, none.
Unfortunately.
No essential employee. I mean, we love the middle of our defense in Payne and Allen, and they're probably back.
Huge fans. I love Terry McLaurin, but is he an essential employee? I love him.
If you want to win 3 games, you got to keep these guys. Obviously, at least we can at least get 3 games with these guys. But other than that,
Adam Peters is an essential employee.
Oh yeah, you know what? We got a little Adam Peters for you. We got a little Adam Peters. We can't. You know what we're gonna do? We have to have. Let's get Ken Harris off. Let's get well, you know what I'm saying there. Let's get these votes off.
Ken just got excited.
And let's get these. Now let's talk about last topic of the night. Last guy working in terms of, where's he at? Here he goes. All right, this is our guy on the scene, working overtime right now.
Why does he look like Alex Smith in a disguise?
He does.
He's in sunglasses and a beard disguise. He has a similar body type.
Why does Martha get? She's getting totally.
Don't you dare do it. I think you're about to do.
No, we're just gonna make it so that we don't. No one. No. Oh, by the way, as soon as I put Adam Peters and Martha on the screen, the thumbs up just started rolling in. A lot of thumbs. Oh, by the way, look at Adam Peters with the thumb. That is right. Give us a thumbs up. We got one from Adam Peters. All right, so.
God, if you put shower can, never mind.
No. Of course not. That would be wrong. So he already got one of those. We got.
What happens if you interface Team Mom and shower can? Let's figure that one out for next week. Please write that one down.
That's
I would like you to come up with that.
Dear Penthouse.
I don't think so. All right. Fair enough way to start it, but
thank you. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, Andrew. We know you doubt he gets.
Well, I mean, massive money might not. I agree
money.
with that. You don't just, but he's a football player, and someone's going to enjoy his services immensely.
Until next Tuesday night, we will get ready for the Super Bowl. Next week, I'm going to put together a bunch of prop bets. We'll we'll talk about a lot of that stuff. But I would love one last week of talking about a football game that's about to happen. Let's talk about some ways in which the team we think is going to win, will win, and why. That's one last chance. And then it's on to the shenanigans of the offseason, which obviously we excel at. We've been doing it for a long time. He's Tim Strachan.
I'm glad we figured it all out.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's all settled now.
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to, like you said, I'm looking forward to talking some football next week, and then we'll get into all the other stuff.
Yeah, the roster management, the offseason stuff.
See you
It's
next
fun.
week.
There's nothing wrong with that. No one loves the draft more than us. No one loves roster building more than us.
I've been mocking out all month. Can't stop. But it's
shirt
pretty
mocking
cool. It's awesome. You get a familiarity with where these guys are and aren't, and you keep on, and you're like, all right. You can figure out the has and what it should be, but it's neat to get in there and mix it up. I'd come more familiar with a bunch of the guys in the rounds 3 through 5, which that'd be a pretty great place for Adam Peters to excel.
Yes. So. Well, I mean, we'll talk about. By the way, it's so much our last coachless show. That's right, Greg. EO, Robert Cohen, A-Team, Ken Harris, AGH, Man of Speaking, Rhett, Charles, all you guys out there hanging out with us. Thank you so much for an awesome Tuesday night. I don't know. I think it's a fun time to be a Commanders fan.
Yes.
Bottom line.
F and flush down the winning in the offseason bullshit. This is going to be fun to start building in the offseason. This isn't a renovation, guys. We're not changing out one room or fixing the bathrooms in the basement. We are tearing the structure down and starting anew. And that's exciting. This is the first time we've actually done it this way.
Yep.
That's going to be exciting to cover and to follow with this amazing group of human beings that join us every Tuesday. I feel like we're all in this together, and I cannot wait till we come out on the right end of it at a playoff game. That's what we have to do. We have to bring
Back
this
to the
band.
playoffs.
We have to get this band together at a playoff game. And we need to get the guys to lead us there first.
I'll say it, and we can track it. I gotta believe in the off season when you see all the standard article that every site has to write sometime in maybe even like two or three times in the offseason. They got to write this article. The headline goes, 5 teams who didn't make the playoffs last year who will make the playoffs this year, right? And everyone has to have like that take. I think we're going to be on that list a lot, not because of any other reason than people are just looking at us differently. And it does have to do with Snyder. It will have to do with the head coach. But
and the 35 signings
and the 35
on the horizon.
signings, there's so little going to be known about
Come on,
anything
everybody.
of us.
Gather around.
Yes.
We're going to do it. It's going to be fun to watch us build, but I don't know if it's going to happen as fast as
somebody comes from
2 years, not 4.
until we're like legitimately good. Like I don't think anyone's looking at Houston and saying they're a Super Bowl contender, but they made the playoffs. And from a shitty division.
That's all I want.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go to a playoff game.
I think we could start out by
at
being
home. Houston had a home playoff game.
Win that division. We could
I
be.
already see the 30 for 30 being done on it.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And I selfishly see number 14, at the helm of that, and that'll be a cool thing to follow this offseason because let's be honest, at number 2, there's a lot of ways you can go that don't involve Sam Howell. We'll see. 7 days away. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night. I'm Ken Meringolo.
Let's get the right guy.
Thank God it's Tuesday.
The right guy. I don't know who that is.
We're still live. What did Ken Harris say? First girl said no, but we're still going to the prom. Better believe it, Ken Harris.
Yeah, hopefully she was a bitch anyways.
There's going to be some...
Like someday you'd be like, she was a bitch anyway.
I know no one liked her. She was no bitch. It's super hot, but...
It would have been a terrible night.